Hi, this is Chuck Gallagher. My guest is Valda Ford. We have had a marvelous conversation about men's health and especially prostate health. And of course, it has come up, and this is a very transparent discussion with Valda as a nurse and me as a prostate cancer survivor.
Yes.
So we've talked a whole lot about things that men need to know, should know, and
Many
things
times haven't asked.
and haven't asked. There you go.
So you were talking about the fact that you had an elevated PSA, you were sent to a urologist who then decided you should have a biopsy.
Right.
Tell me what happened then.
So I get the call from the doctor's office. He said, okay, we need to come in. We got the biopsy results. And I'm like, okay, yeah, this is no big deal. Thank God I don't have to worry about that. Go in, sit on the table. I don't know why they always have you sitting on a table, but sit on the table. And I'm expecting him to say from that digital rectal exam experience that, yeah, no big deal, nothing to worry about.
Right.
He walks in the room, very stern-faced. You have prostate cancer.
Oh.
And Valda, I was taken back a bit. I guess two parts. The first is what?
Yes.
I am 47 years old and what I consider the picture of health, and you're telling me I got prostate cancer? And then I was taken back by the fact that it was very direct. It wasn't, we didn't ease into that. I mean, it was just laid out there.
Right.
And I mean, literally, he said, you have prostate cancer. And he said, there are functionally 4 dominant treatments for prostate cancer. He said,
Right.
now, surgery would be one. That's the gold standard, as he called it. He said, we could do radiation. He said, we could do radioactive seed implants, or there is this thing called watch and wait. And he said, your PSA is not that high, so we could just observe what takes place and make a decision later.
And your decision was?
Well, here's the deal. But he looked at me very clearly and said, but I would recommend surgery in your case, and I can get you scheduled in 2 weeks.
Wow.
Now, I just wasn't prepared for that.
Yeah.
So there were 2 things then that popped up. Number one was, I'm thinking, dude, you are pushing this. I mean, it's like, whoa, I want to take a chill pill.
Right.
I got to absorb what you have just shared with me. And the second thing was, and I don't know why I had the presence of mind to ask, but I said, how many of these surgeries do you do?
Very important.
Very important question. And his response in Western North Carolina was, well, generally about 2 a week. And I thought, okay. And I remember saying, now, with my PSA being low, do I need to rush into anything?
Right.
And his response was no, but, you know, I wouldn't wait around too long. But no, you don't. And I thanked him profusely for the diligent work that he had done, and made sure I got copies of material to take with me.
Yes.
So that I could understand what the numbers were that he was talking about,
Right.
which meant absolutely nothing to me. And I left his office at that point in time, and that was the moment I then began doing research to figure out, okay, now what?
Well, the most important thing is that you left with good information. There are so many people who get stunned by what's happening. You went in expecting it to have been, no big deal,
Absolutely.
Everything's fine. You get the big C word, there's cancer, and now you had the presence of mind to say, thank you. Give me this information. How often do you do this? Because you want the more skilled surgeon, the person who does this as a matter of course as compared to the person who has done a couple in his lifetime. And you took good information with you so that you could do more research and find the right person and the right procedure.
Absolutely. I will say, as we wrap up this segment and start into the, okay, now what are the real options? I'll never forget, I called my wife and I told her, I said, well, I got the results. She said, what was it? I said, I have prostate cancer. She said, you're kidding. You always kid, Chuck. You are the kiddiest guy I've ever known. And it's like, now, would I kid about something like that? She said, I believe you would. I said, baby. No.
Not about the prostate and Mr. Johnson.
That's
No.
exactly, no. And then I called my boss and told him. And he said the same thing. He said, Chuck, you kidding all the time. What in the world? And I'm like, nobody kids about that.
Right.
So I figured out I might need to be a bit more serious in my life because apparently I have way too much fun.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the good thing is that you had a good attitude, you had a good support system, you had your wife, you had a boss who you were comfortable telling, which means that you had a great relationship with him. These are very important things to know and to have moving forward.
Absolutely. And Valda, with your background, one of the things I think will be incredibly important in our series here on men's health and prostate health is to look at what are the, we'll call them primary treatment options, and why you would consider those particular options at your age with the type of prostate cancer that you've been diagnosed with, et cetera.
Yes, absolutely. We'll talk about that.
Great. Stay tuned. This is Chuck Gallagher. My guest is Valda Ford, and we're talking about men's health and especially prostate health.